For years, global warming was framed as a future problem, something for the scientists, something for the summits, something that we would deal later on. But today, climate change is already deciding which countries get water, which borders hold, and which governments survive. From rivers in South Asia to dams in Africa to melting ice in the Arctic and the Antarctic, global warming is no longer environmental. It is now geopolitical and it is already reshaping global powers. Let's understand global warming from this geopolitical angle in this episode of Date This Side. Let's start with Syria. Before the civil war began in 2011, Syria faced its worst drought in human history. For years, crops failed, livestock died, and around 1.5 million Syrians were forced to migrate into cities. Now, cities like Aleppo and Damascus were already struggling with poor governance and unemployment. Drought didn't cause the war, but it destabilized the society, increased the anger, and weakened the state. When the protest began, the system cracked and never recovered. Climate stress didn't fire the first shot, but it helped push the country over the edge. Now look at Africa, especially the Nile River. Ethiopia is building the Great Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, the biggest hydroelectric dam in entire Africa. For Ethiopia, it means development and electricity. For Egypt, it's an existential threat. Egypt receives 90% of its water from the Nile River. Any reduction could devastate agriculture and population centers. As climate change reduces rainfall and increases evaporation, water scarcity means political pressure. Egypt has already warned that Nile water is a national security issue. So, this isn't diplomacy over climate, it's climate turning water as a strategic advantage or leverage. Now, shift to South Asia. The Indus water system supports nearly 300 million people across India and Pakistan. Glaciers in Himalaya are melting faster than ever, which means short term there will be floods, but long term there would be water shortages. India controls most of the upstream dams, but Pakistan depends heavily on downstream flow. Every climate shock adds pressure to an already tense nuclear relationship. Treaties exist, but treaties become fragile when water is scarce. Climate change doesn't create hostility, it amplifies it. In 2022, Europe faced heat wave driven energy crisis. Low rainfall reduced hydropower output, drought limited coal supply across by rivers, and gas shortages met soaring demands. Governments were forced to reopen coal plants despite climate commitments. Energy security mattered more at that time than climate pledges. Politics followed. Public anger over rise in prices, protest, and far right parties gaining traction across Europe. Climate stress didn't just hit the ecosystem, it reshaped the entire way of elections. As Arctic ice melts, new shipping routes are opening. The Northern Sea route cuts the travel time between Asia and Europe by around 40%. Russia is militarizing the Arctic bases. China calls itself a near Arctic state, and NATO nations are increasing their presence. This is global warming creating new geopolitical territory. Melting ice isn't peace, it's competition. And here's the harsh reality: rich countries adapt. They build flood defenses, climate resilient infrastructure, they secure resources early. It's the poor and fragile states that collapse first. Climate change doesn't hit everyone equally, it reorders power. Global warming is not a side issue anymore. It is influencing wars, reshaping alliances, and deciding national survival. The future won't belong to the loudest or to the strongest. It would belong to those who adapt before climate pressure turns into political collapse. Because in the age of climate change, nature has entered geopolitics. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you like the video. If you enjoy watching our content, please do subscribe to the channel because we are going to break down geopolitics and economics in a way that makes sense for all of us. See you in the next one soon. Till then, stay happy, stay diplomatic. This is Dave this side signing off. Peace.